You feeling shit, mate? What's going on?
Oh, mate, no, just feeling run down, mate. Got a cold from the little one, of course. Going through that. Bloody annoying. And I'm convinced that I have a few food allergies, mate. I'm 100% after speaking to my brother. Oh, mate.
What do you got, mate? Talk me through it. What do you got?
I don't know, mate. I feel like there's got to be a correlation between... I definitely know brewer's yeast for sure. Because whenever I have a beer, I get like, my stomach's like this. Or if I eat some white bread, 100%. But I've gone and got some like little tests from the doctor to see if I'm allergic to any stuff. Yeah. So my brother's telling me a story, right? And he's like one of the fittest dudes on the planet. He was like one of those guys where he's absolutely yoked. He used to work out. He looked like basically like Arnie, right? But like shorter. And he's insane. And he's an older bloke now and he's still absolutely jacked. He just had his 55th birthday and he's doing fucking... So we went over to his place, right? And Evie's there, my little daughter, doing all this gymnastic stuff. And he's 55. He just gets up on his hands and starts walking on his hands. He's an absolute unit. Anyway, so he's riding his bike, right? He does all this fitness stuff, does a lot of gym stuff. Riding his bike and he'd be like wheezing all the time. And, you know, they give him like this Symbicort stuff, which is really heavy kind of like asthma stuff. Like, oh, you got asthma. He went to this food allergist, right? Did all these tests and they're like, you're allergic to like dairy, egg whites, but not egg yolks, brewer's yeast, baker's yeast. So he cut all that back and all that's just gone away and he's like living his best life. Yeah. And I'm like, oh lad, like all that stuff you're talking about, like it's definitely genetic. And like, there's no real like correlation between I ate something 2 or 3 days ago and now I'm feeling the ill effects of that. It's not like it's kind of immediate. You've gone through this, man. You got a few things, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know what I've got. They wanted to stick something down my throat and put me to sleep, so I'm like, yeah, no thanks.
Endoscopy,
so yeah. I was like, that doesn't sound great. So I basically just keep eating what I eat. Like I love a good palmy, but cheese and the palmy completely destroys me. Beers aren't good. Love beers though, not going away. Yeah. So I take these like acid stomach like pills or like chewables that make my acid like my stomach, my acid like go down.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, because I like I burp a lot when I have like bread or like something heavy. Yeah. But he was like, yeah, you got to stop eating all that and we got to do an operation. I was like, yeah, so no, I'm going to keep eating carbs and I'm not having an operation. So
that's it. I get that as well, where it's like it kind of like upsets you something. You get like reflux as well. And then sometimes you don't know you're having it and then you don't sleep properly and you feel run down and all this sort of nonsense. And I'm like, look, just take my blood, give me a panel, be like, son, you're allergic to these things. At the moment, I'm flying in the dark. Or they do this thing like a FODMAP diet, where it's basically you start with fuck all food that's not going to affect you and you add one more thing. And I'm like, man, I don't have time for that shit.
Fuck that. Isn't there some sort of like test or some shit you can do? Like, plug me in something or get me in a computer and just tell me what I can't eat. Like,
yeah, give me the go fast path. So yeah, I'm on that path, mate. Gonna go see this person and I'll be able to report back on my new life, mate. I reckon this is gonna be absolute life changing. Just talked to Tim, one of our team. He said his mum did it and she was like allergic to simple things like chicken. Like cut those stuff out and just absolutely changed her life, mate.
I'm not allergic to chicken, man. Even if I am, I'll not stop eating. I love chicken. Like literally, I reckon like 75% of my meals are chicken.
Mate, I think when I joined Collective Shift, every single day you're just punching down chicken sandwiches, mate. You're just absolutely drooling. And then like your partner will come home, she'd be like, "You're eating one of those again?" And you're like, "No." There's like chicken all down your face.
It's like my number one search item on Google is like top chicken sandwiches near me. Like that's
mate, you know you've got issues if that's in your search history, mate. Oh. So, have you had any killer chicken sandwiches in the States, mate?
So, they make a shit chicken sandwich over here. I've tried...
Really?
Yeah, I've tried... So, okay, let me rephrase that. So, a lot of the fast food restaurants just make a dreadful chicken sandwich. Like, Burger King, like, disgusting. Yeah. Macca's, disgusting. KFC do this weird, like, chicken slider thing that's really not good. I've been to a couple of wicked burger restaurants that make a good chicken burger, but the fast food... What about
Chick-fil-A? You been there?
Haven't been to Chick-fil-A. Heard that's dreadful, so I haven't been there. So Popeye's terrible. Wendy's awful. Yeah, nah. It's all pretty average.
What makes a good chicken sandwich for you?
Okay, so like a nice brioche bun that isn't like that's fresh but not too sweet. Over here in the US, you get a really sweet brioche bun. No thanks. Chicken needs to be like lightly battered, not deep fried. Needs to be pan seared, really well done, so it's still juicy. Like and a good like thick piece of chicken. Yeah. Then it needs like a good piece of like Swiss cheese or American cheese on top, not mozzarella. It's terrible. Good fresh lettuce, no tomato because I want to throw up. Good little bit of mayonnaise, maybe a bit of barbecue sauce. Bacon if you've got some, and like a fried egg on a plate with crinkle cut chips, a little bit of chicken salt, and a Coke. And you've got me. I'm done. That's it.
Mate, you need to open a chicken shop. That was so precise. I was expecting like, oh, just this and this. You're like every single ingredient. You have put so much thought into this. This is ridiculous. If I cut open your skull and looked at your brain, 90% of it would be dedicated to chicken sandwiches. If we put you in an MRI machine and got you to think about chicken sandwiches, your brain would just light up, mate.
That's why I'm not going to the doctor's many. They say I'm allergic to chicken. Like, that's not happening. Like, I'm just not
it's all over,
that.
mate.
That's not an answer.
At least then it would be your choice, right? Like you would know. Whereas at the moment, it's like, I'm like, oh, what am I allergic to? What am I not allergic to? I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I feel you, man.
Oh, mate.
So in New York, man, I'm here.
Bro, you made it.
My time zones are all out of whack. So I couldn't get to sleep till... So I got into San Francisco, had a night in San Francisco. Didn't eat, so sort of forgot to eat, was on the plane. It was early Australian time, arrived late in San Francisco time. Ended up getting on the beers and it was just terrible. Like, it was a bad decision. You know when you don't eat and you drink, and then the next day you just feel terrible. So
used to be every Friday night for me, mate. Just knock off work. Last time I ate was lunch and just get on the soup.
Oh no, man. Got on the soup. I was on the bubbles. I was just on my own, just sort of bar hopping. Man, being an Australian in New York is so much... In America, sorry, is so much fun. Because everyone just thinks you're a legend. And whether or not you are, that's a different story. But everyone just wants
in reality,
to
you're just an alcoholic, but you know, you're a legend.
So went to a few different bars, met some cool people, and had an early flight. It's a 6-hour flight from San Francisco to New York. And then time zones all out of whack. So I couldn't get to sleep till like 5 a.m. New York time, which was about... probably 7 or 8 p.m. Australian time. Woke up today, 3 p.m. New York time, which was like a 7-hour sleep. Woke up at like 5:30 Australian time. So I think my brain still thinks I'm in Australia, but I'm in New York.
Yep.
So I've been up for like 6 hours and it's 10 p.m. and I'm like ready for lunch.
Oh, great, it's 10 p.m. What do I do now?
Yeah, it's like, okay, so, like, what do I do now? So, it's been... Hopefully, I got some like sleeping pills. Gonna try and hit the hay after this. Try and wake up and then get back on a normal cycle. But just the time zones, man. It gets you, man. It gets you.
Oh, so last time you went over there, how long did it take you to adjust to the time zone?
Last time was a little bit easier. I feel as though like I just fell asleep. We travelled at a different time this last time versus this time. So I arrived this time in the afternoon San Francisco time, which was morning Australian time, and last time I think we arrived early morning US time and nighttime Australian time, which was better because you're tired. So arriving in the afternoon when you're not tired is pretty shitty because you don't want to go to sleep. Like, you're not tired, but it's time for bed. And then add on another 3 hours to New York, it's just been terrible, to be honest. So anyway, New York NFT NYC starts tomorrow, so we're gonna just like smash like as much melatonin as I can, probably like 20-30 milligrams. Hopefully I wake up and then
that's a good start, mate. Yeah, I hear like but yeah, that's like excuse me, the missus has some melatonin as well and she just like swears by it.
Yeah, right. What does she take? Just like 10 milligram?
She's got these like chewable ones. I don't know how much they are. Yeah, I think
so.
Like
I went
10
to
or 20, something like that.
Yeah, I went to the US. I'm in the US. Went to the pharmacy and there was only 5 or 10 milligrams. So I got the 10 milligrams and they just say to take it half an hour before bed. So I've taken a couple of these before, but anyway, I'll let you know next week how my sleep goes.
Definitely helps, mate. Gets in the mood. Just have a sleep. Yeah.
I was literally like last night I was watching YouTube videos, watching the golf on TV and reading a book like at the same time. I was like, why?
Trying to do all the sleepy things. So,
yeah. At once it wasn't good. Anyway.
So you're talking about your flight. We've actually prepared a little bit this time. We've got a little agenda going. So I reckon this is a nice segue into clearing up business class, mate. big baller Bitcoin billionaire Ben flying business class over here. Look at him go.
Yeah. Okay. So someone commented on my Twitter, was like, "Is that first class?" Something like that. So just had to sort of come back and say that that was the first time I ever flew business class. So I took a lot of profits, altcoin profits, back in early 2021, late 2020. Made a couple of like pretty good investments early on. Was pretty lucky, sold at the top, and took a lot of that straight in AUD. Put a little bit of Bitcoin, but it was holding a bit of cash. And had flew last time the US and back on premium economy, which was good. But I'm doing these trips like every month, and it kills you for like, as people would know, it kills you for like the week or two after. So it was really pushing down my efficiency at work, because I was literally like, I can't work as efficiently as I could be, because of these 1 or 2 weeks after landing on either side. I'm just fucked. Like I just can't. Like I'm so tired.
And you're going there for a purpose as well, to go to all these conferences, meet investors, all this kind of stuff. You got
meetings.
To perform, right?
I'm flat out this week, like hitting the ground running tomorrow. It's all happening. So
even
for
just
me
before
to be
this, you're like, oh, can we delay by an hour? I've got to jump on Ausbiz. And like,
literally was like out for dinner, Uber home, straight on, had a 30-minute interview on Ausbiz, a podcast now, and now I'm going to start work after this, 11 p.m. I need to be sort of on the game. So for an extra $4,000 or $5,000 Australian for a business class seat, where you get this is the first time I've done it, the flatbeds, get a sleep in, it is worth it, because I feel as though I'm going to get that ROI back with that dollar spent in my sleep, efficiency, productivity. So that was where that decision came from.
Absolutely, man. I remember you saying last time, like, you're in economy, you're all scooched up, and there's a lady behind you, and she's like, like coughing all over you the whole time. Didn't have a mask, and you ended up getting COVID.
Man, so flight from New Zealand to LA, this chick behind us was just coughing it up. Like her name was COVID. Like she was just like Mrs. COVID behind me was just, I don't know how she got on the plane. She was pacing up and down. She was basically throwing up, rubbing shoulders, took a mask off. It was a shit show. And got COVID like the next day when we got to Miami. So, man, business classes. So we flew Fiji Airways, first time flying business internationally. It's really nice. Apart from like, we literally flew through a snow blizzard. Like I couldn't sleep. I'm pretty good like flying, but I had the sweaty palms. I had, lying down.
Knees weak, arms heavy. Mom spaghetti.
Knees weak, mom spaghetti. It was scary. I was like, fuck, this might be it.
The whole thing like just going like the plane was shaking.
It had rattling noise. So there was stuff hitting the front of the plane. It was like, and it was going down the side of the plane. It was going like, I don't know if you can hear that, but it was like that down the side of the plane. And it was choppy for a good probably 2 or 3 hours, like proper turbulence.
This is the start to every flight crash movie ever.
Ever. And I'm in a flatbed. So we're going to go down pretty like cool. But if this is it...
Go down balling, baby.
Oh, we're gonna ball. I was watching Friends, lying back with my headset on. But it was pretty scary. So that was from Fiji to San Francisco. So halfway over, like probably 5 or 6 hours out of the US. It was pretty bad. Middle of the night. I'm pretty sure it was a snow blizzard. It was like, here we go. But anyway, we live to fight another day. What's going on with you, man? What do we got? What's on the agenda this week?
Oh, mate. So did you want to do... let's kick off with the photo cover. So we ended up getting some feedback from our first pod. And I'll tell you the feedback I got from my mates. This is how it went. For pretty much across the board. It's like, fuck Bergs, you and Ben, you have the roughest heads. Why don't you change your face? Change your face or I'm going to change it for you. Why is your head so dry? There's not one drop of moisture in that head. And then it just went, then they started ripping my face off, putting it onto memes. And I'm like, where's the feedback? And then one of my mates, JB, he's like, oh, it was really entertaining, mate. I'll give you some feedback. A couple of days later, no feedback. He just fucks off, does nothing. And I'm like, come on, son. And then the other side was like from my family, and they're all like congratulating me and going, oh, I was above my head. I have no idea what you were talking about, but well done for doing the thing. So it was like, there was no middle ground. It was just like blind praise and roasting. That's it.
Yeah. It's family. I'm so proud of you, great job. And then mate, just like, you're fucking idiots. You look like a dickhead. Like,
Yeah. That's it. And like, Oh, my mates are such shitheads. And even some of them, like one of my mates, I'll shout him out here. I got a message from Joe and he's just like, "You're so shit." And that wasn't even related to the podcast, mate. He's just like, he's the shittest bloke. He was the guy that got in on the Discord live where he was like commenting on my head. And I'm like, "Oh, that's my mate." And he types back, he's like, "I've never met you in my life." He's such a lad. And it's like, all of our mates are such shit blokes. And I'm like, yeah, what does that say about me? I'm a shit bloke as well, definitely. I'd be roasting them the same. But man, the memes that are coming through, I put some in the work Slack. Oh, they're starting to heat up, mate.
I've heard we've got a new segment this week, which is Meme of the Week. Are we rapping with that, or do you have one? Because like I've got one,
mate. We should do it now, and it is going to be the one that you just posted. I reckon that is Meme of the Week. So for those that are listening, I don't know if we're doing a screen share here, but it's from The Lion King. It's Mufasa and Simba sitting down, looking out over all the lands, and Simba says, "Dad, what are capital gains taxes?" And Mufasa says, "You don't have to worry, son. You don't have to worry about that this year, son." And it's like, oh my God, because the markets have absolutely tanked. Everything's in the shitter. You don't have to worry about your capital gains. We're coming towards the end of tax year. And that just got me right in the feels. Like straight away, it was like hide the pain, Harold. I was just like, oh my God. It was unbelievable. All right, Ben's back. He got rugged by his internet. Classic Ben. This is starting to be a theme, mate.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be every week. Well, I'm traveling around, man. Shitty hotel Wi-Fi. Anyway.
Oh, mate, can't be trusted. All right, we'll do Meme of the Week. So this week, Ben posted it yesterday, and this got me right in the feels, and it was just amazing. So I'll describe the meme. So this is from The Lion King. You got Mufasa and Simba just sitting on the cliff, looking out over all the lands. And Simba just goes, "Dad, what are capital gains taxes?" And Mufasa just says, "You don't have to worry about that this year, son." And honestly, because the markets have just taken the biggest shit. No one's making any gains. We're about 10 days away from the end of financial year. And this just got me right in the feels. Like I saw this when I woke up and I was just hide the pain, Harold. Like just like crying, mate. And I was like, oh, and it hit because it was funny and it got me in the feelings and it made me sad at the same time, mate. It was so good. It's just like perfect meme.
Funniest thing I've seen on Twitter. "Dad, what is capital gains?" "Don't worry about that, son. We don't need to worry about that this year." Like,
yeah, you could just see him like putting his arm around, just going, "You don't have to worry about that, son." We're deep in the red.
We're so far away from the green. You don't need to worry about that for a few years, son.
Oh my God. Yeah, that just cracked me up. That is Meme of the Week. Shout out to Opes. He actually gave me some good feedback. He's like, "Where are the memes, bruh?" So a bit of a low-key meme lord, just posting them out there. And he's like, "Bro, we've got to get amongst it." So that's our Meme of the Week.
Amazing. So, for those that are first-time listeners, second-time listeners, because this is only the second episode, we literally do basically no preparation. We have a list here in Notion. We hit record and we just go for it. And the feedback last week, Bergs, I had some pretty good feedback. People actually found it valuable, funnily enough. So
that's awesome, man.
We're going to keep sort of talking about business, crypto, sports, life, food, travel, whatever the hell is interesting during the week. Wrap it up, give our opinion, our thoughts, and hopefully you guys can take something away from it. So, Bergs, you've got. I sort of took the mic last week with my topics. Did you want to touch on? You got a few things here. Do you want to? Is there anything that's burning that you want to chat about?
Oh, mate. Let's go into. I think the two we should touch on are we crypto rich and explain not your keys, not your coins.
Okay. Then I want to wrap with having a good tax accountant and traveling, being a nomad. So let's do yours first.
Yeah, easy. So are we crypto rich? So someone may say like, "Oh, you're buying Bitcoin, you're buying ETH, and you've never sold." And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But I've also been absolutely fucking rugged because they're like, "Oh, you're sitting on all this cash, all these coins." I'm like, no. So no, I'm not crypto rich. You got to understand, even though you buy heaps of shit, like I looked, and this is just heartbreaking when you go back through your accounts and like ICO days, like 2017, 2018, you're buying Ethereum at like $100 and an ICO comes along and you're like, yeah, I'll chuck in 10 ETH. That's only $1,000. No worries. Let's go. And you look at it and like ETH goes like $4,000, your ICOs go to zero. And even now with the markets, there's like, there's a beautiful page we'll link in the show notes. It's coingolive.com/coin/ ATH price, it shows you everything that's down. Things are down like 80%. Bitcoin since all-time high, down 70%. Ethereum down 77%. Oh, mate, even some in like the high 90s. And it's a beautiful site because it tells you that if you buy now, how much it actually you will gain to get back to all-time highs. So like Bitcoin, for example, it's down 70%. To get to all-time high, it's 241% to get back up there. So basically, I've said in the past where in terms of my portfolio, crypto was about 30% of my net worth. Now it's probably down to about 10%. I've got other assets and all those kind of things, but you're a
property man. You got some stocks. What else you got?
Property, stocks, crypto are probably the big ones, I would say. Holding like a few like precious metals, but nothing worth mentioning. But they're generally the big ones. And then you got things like, your superannuation, a few other things. But in terms of asset allocation, crypto is about kind of 10%, I'd say.
Are you holding cash ready to sort of sweep the bottom, or are you all in at this stage?
Cash heavy. So I've got a decent amount of cash offsetting my mortgage at the moment. And this is the part where I kind of come alive and start to invest. That's been my plan for quite a while, where I've been waiting for a decent pullback and now I'll start to kind of average in. Nice. And it's the hardest thing to do, where everything's absolutely down. And then the economy's wrecked, interest rates are going up, everything's happening. And then you've got this kind of little safety net, your little kind of nest egg that's there. But then, to actually build that wealth, you have to start deploying that capital. And it's one of the hardest psychological things to do.
Yeah, buying the bottom, 100%.
Yeah. And then again, saying I'm cash heavy doesn't mean I've got millions of dollars or whatever in the bank. I have a portion in cash, and compared to my portfolio, it is, it's a decent portion of a percentage, but I've got that to deploy into investments that I haven't done already.
Nice. I think cash is so important during this period. I don't follow my own advice here because I've got no cash. I'm 99.84% crypto. So, I think having cash during this period is a great time. And every 3 or 4 years, you get these magic opportunities where it's like, rather than chasing FOMO at the top in November last year at $70,000 Bitcoin, you've got this sub $20,000 Bitcoin, which is huge, right? And sitting on cash during these times is magic. This is where really generational wealth is built. I'm the opposite. I've just continually bought Bitcoin and ETH with everything I've had for the last 6 years. 6 years? 5 years. Started buying early 2018. I took out a loan, and do not recommend anyone taking out a loan to buy crypto at all. I did because I was living at home and I had no downside risk. My downside risk was bankruptcy when I had no assets. I was still living at home. So I went to the bank and asked to buy Bitcoin. I was 18. I said, hey, I want a loan to buy Bitcoin. They told me to fuck off. And,
amazing.
There's the door. So I went back the next day and I was like, I don't want Bitcoin anymore. I'm going to America. I need some money. I'm like, how much do you want? So they gave me $20,000.
Crazy, isn't it?
They gave me $20,000 with a 12% interest within an hour. It arrived in my bank account, and bought Bitcoin and ETH and a couple of alts. And Bitcoin was probably, I think, around $6,000 at the time, maybe. Can't remember. And paid the loan back within a couple of years, and
that's brilliant. And this really goes towards, our station in life. And now's a probably good time to say, we'll put a disclaimer at the front of this, but all of this stuff, not financial advice, not investment advice. We're not accredited to give you guys specific advice. That is for your specific professionals. Again, this is just two guys talking. Don't take anything from here and go and action it. Talk to your professionals around you, please. We'll put a disclaimer at the front for that as well. And this really goes towards your station in life. So, you're a young bloke, and you're able to take on more risk, right? Like the risk of ruin is very low because you don't have heaps of assets. I'm 15 years older than you, got a house, got a family, those kind of things to consider. So my risk profile is a lot lower than yours, even though I still invest in risky things like crypto. But I need to make sure that I have 12 months worth of living expenses in the bank, right? Like that's like have those kind of things steady, that my mortgage is kind of, paid up, got a decent job, all those kind of things, and balance out all that risk.
Totally. Two completely separate scenarios, and everyone else's different scenarios as well. So I was chatting with a guy today I met up with, and he is working full-time as an investor in crypto. So traveling, meeting people, starting to build up his own Web3 company, and doesn't have a salary. Quit his in real life job and went full-time crypto. And with this latest bear period, he's had to sell one of his Bored Apes to continue to fund his travel, right? And the considerations that he was weighing up was, okay, like I've got X amount of worth of runway to continue sort of doing what I'm doing as a crypto investor. If things get worse though, that is going to halve that, and my assets are going to halve as well. So I need to make a call where I've seen some of my big project NFTs go from, Bored Ape went from 400,000 in Australian dollar value to 80,000 now, something like that. Like it's huge sort of reductions. And he's had to make the call to sell one of his Bored Apes to continue funding. Where his downside risk was he'd have to go find a Web 2 job again, go back into in real life work, right? Versus continuing the dream, which is in my opinion living abroad, working, meeting cool people, and doing awesome things. And that's an amazing lifestyle. And if you can continue to fund that through crypto, well, that's amazing. But the downside risk to go back to a job or risk of ruin, that's where you need to sort of weigh up your own decisions on selling.
Yeah. And you see a lot of people doing that where they'll save up a certain amount, like 6 months or 12 months runway, and then do kind of, geo arbitrage where they'll go live in a cheaper country, go over there, do all their crypto stuff, have a bit of a longer runway, but then it becomes a problem where, if the assets that you have halve in value and you're asset rich but perhaps cash poor and you need that cash flow, you'll have to sell those off at a loss, or you'll have to get a job, you have to get that cash in. And there's so many considerations that go into just how you run your finances. No two people are ever the same. We're all at different cycles and different stations in life. We've got different risk profiles. Absolutely, man. But I love to hear these stories from different people and how they view this kind of stuff.
Okay, that leads perfectly into my next point around having a professional tax advisor on your team and having experts around you. So Bergs and I both share the same tax accountant, and he's a weapon. He is
such a lad.
He's a lad. There's no bullshit, and he'll just talk to you about all this tax shit that I do not want to learn about, but want him to help me navigate the space. And when you're talking at a level that's sort of important to you as as an individual, there are levels that are important, whether they're big profits, big losses, whatever they might be, right? They're important because they're going to change the way your sort of cash flow is. I sat down with our tax accountant the other day, and I took a lot of profits back in 2020, 2021. So I'm looking at this going, well, Jesus, there's going to be a fair bit of repayments.
This is the big meeting, mate. The one you're not looking forward to.
Yeah, this is the big meeting. So I probably sold, I don't know if I want to name numbers on here, but it was a substantial amount, right? And have been continuing to DCA back into crypto and whatever else. So sat down with our tax accountant. I was like, this is the lay of the land. This is what's going on. And he just reeled off like so many different things that I've never even heard of. And basically said, he's like, we're fine, mate. Like, this is what we're going to do. And I was like, yes, we're going to do that. Let's fucking do it. Like,
so good. So good. I was the same.
Yeah.
I was expecting like a huge bill, right? Because I had a decent year. I was working. I was running my own business as well. And I was like, oh shit, here we go. This is really going to hurt. What am I going to do? Like, this is crazy. And he's like, no, lad, don't worry. Like, we've set up a trust. This is what we're going to do. We're going to disperse this income. We've got this rule. We've got to make sure this is fine.
Yes.
And the bill just came down. And I was like, oh my God. I just wanted to give him a big hug.
and I was the same, man. So like, I loaned some crypto to someone and never got that loan back. And I thought that was going to be a capital sale event. I thought that was like, okay, I've sold this crypto. I'm going to cop that as income. And it was like, nah, like, just, we're going to implement this thing, this policy over here that sort of, includes this and that, the other, and then, don't worry about it. was like, we're going to be able to use that as a loss. I was like, man, I've been stressing for 6 or 8 months around my tax, procrastinating for so long, going, for fuck's sake, I'm going to have to do this at some point. Got to the meeting, and he's like, nah, man, we're sweet. This is what we're going to do.
This is so good. And I love him because he's a conservative guy, but he always pushes the boundaries. Like he's in all these groups. So he's a solo practitioner, runs his own business, but he's in all these groups to further his knowledge, and he knows where to push with the ATO, the Australian Taxation Office, what the rulings have been, and he can always ask the people in this group. And even like my crypto stuff, like it's insane to do. So I've got a specific crypto accountant for that. And that guy is so good. Like the other crypto accountant where he's like, oh, this was an ICO, this was that contract. He knows like all the addresses and names and everything. He does up a little summary for our accountant, sends it across to him, and then we just account for it. And it is so nice. It's like, he even he's worked for, our accountant's worked for a few companies. He worked for a rich family for a few years as well and saved them a bunch of money. He's just so knowledgeable and just takes the pain out of everything and makes it easy. And he picks up the phone and you just talk to him and he's always like cheery and always good. He's just unbelievable. It makes your life so much easier. And you actually, like, you never want to do your tax, but it's never super painful. He just makes it
100%.
An amazing experience.
So I think this goes down to my point I also had here was around like surrounding yourself, the importance of surrounding yourself with smart people and smart people that know their shit, that bring you up. And one of those sayings is like, always be the dumbest guy in the room. And that's the sort of a bit of a motto that I try and live off of around, just in a non-cheesy way, just always trying to learn and surrounding yourself with people that know their shit and partnering and working with people that know their shit. That's how you and I started Bergs. This was like a few years ago. It was like, we sort of connected through crypto and you were like, I've got all this value I can help you with. Like, what do you think? And I was like, fucking, let's go. Like, and that's how we started. Because I was like, this guy knows his shit. This guy's smart. He's in the space that I know and want to learn more about. And there's other things in common. And like, let's hang out. And that's how that started. And I think the people that you surround yourself with bring you up. And people that you surround yourself with that bring you down is also just as equal as important, because that's something you need to change, in my opinion.
Definitely. And if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. Like, that is exactly like right what you said. And yeah, you need people that push you, that help you think in a different way, that help you grow. Personal growth is everything. You need to be uncomfortable and always growing. And even if I look back like 3 months, I'll be like, man, I was so dumb back then, because like, I've thrown myself into this business. I've learnt so much stuff, working async, working with remote teams, going hard in crypto, going fast. All the craziness of a startup is just a completely different world. And I was kind of involved in that as a consultant, but now I'm in it full time, and you learn so much and you grow so fast. Definitely in the right space.
100%. That's the thing that I think that keeps me moving, is like progress, learning, progression, getting better in personal life, career life, meeting new people, just putting yourself in uncomfortable positions. Like even traveling, like I'm, generally a bit of an introvert, and having to push yourself out there, traveling on your own, meeting new people that you've never met before, it opens up this whole new world. The other night I had an amazing night. You just meet some amazing people and you just create these friendships, relationships, even if you never see them again. Like the idea that you just meet some random on the street and you learn from them. And if you're, genuinely curious, like in San Francisco, for example, had dinner, well, it wasn't dinner, just drinks with these people that I'd nearly I tried to steal their table, and he's like, "Nah, bro, that's for me." I was like, "Oh, sorry, man." He's like, "We can stay if you want." I'm like, "Okay, I'll stay." And then we had an amazing night. He worked at finance at Apple and was moving to SpaceX the following week. Oh, and the guy in the corner was working as an engineer at Dropbox, and then his partner was working at HelloSign or DocuSign, whatever Dropbox acquired. And then these guys here were like, they'd been to Australia before, and it was all of a sudden it was like. And this other lady, his wife, was into NFTs and crypto, but no one talked to her about crypto. So we had this amazing conversation about crypto. It was like, it's just such a amazing feeling / time when you just meet cool people that are just, and I've got no idea what their names are. Like, we'll probably never see them again, but it was just fun. And so, so new.
Isn't it wild how you just talk to them and you just get inspired, and you find people like you or that do different stuff or have a recommendation, or they say one sentence that just sticks with you and can change your world. It is so amazing. Yeah, get out there and meet more people. Everyone, meet at least one new person a week. Have coffee with someone you don't know, and just have a chat to them. You'd be surprised at how it changes you, how it makes you happy, the things that you will learn. It is unbelievable.
And what I've noticed as well, coming back to the US now for the second time, is that each state is so different. It is ridiculous. Like, you go to San Francisco and it's so B2B enterprise tech. Like, that's all it is. All the billboards are like AI workforce chatbots, you know.
Enterprise SaaS.
Yeah, literally. And you go to Miami, it's all crypto. And then you come to New York and it's just like all sorts of random shit. You know, whether it be Coca-Cola or Disney or NFTs or whatever it is. And each state is so different, and the people are so different, and they work in different industries. You know, so as I said, in San Francisco, it's all B2B SaaS. In Miami, it's all crypto. In New York, it's finance. You know, it's all different. So
yeah, I've heard that before as well, where like each state is kind of like its own little country.
Yeah, literally.
That's absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Oh mate, I gotta go. How long are you over there for this time? 4 weeks?
Yeah, so in New York this week for NFT NYC, kick that off tomorrow. Texas for 2 days, San Diego for a week and a bit, catching up with Aman and the crew, James, Mike.
Oh, nice.
Get a bit of work done. Milwaukee, doing a public speaking course. So I'm speaking, I'm speaking at a few things, as you know, later this year. So I've got a TEDx talk in Melbourne on crypto, which is going to be amazing.
Awesome.
Never spoke at this sort of scale event. So I'm going to Milwaukee to do a speaking course. Speaking in front of 800 people in Sydney at the research.
800, mate.
What's that?
Just 800, mate.
Man, I'm like, that's a lot of people. At the Research Society's conference on crypto trends to research departments of big industries in Australia. So like some of the Facebook guys, Uber, Microsoft, the research UI UX people in there. So speaking about crypto, it's gonna be fun.
Wow.
Going to Gold Coast later this year, wholesale investor in Sydney next month. It's wild, man. There's so much happening. So much fun.
Oh, mate,
cool.
look, this is what we're talking about, personal growth, like signing up for these things where you're just like, how am I going to do this? And just getting amongst it. The people I've spoken to was 700 at a conference.
How'd it go?
Oh, it was great. It was amazing. Like the people didn't, like, I'm like, yeah, it's people, whatever. I know what I'm going to say. It's great. Get up there. The thing that was like, whoa, was when like you say a joke or you say something and 700 people laugh at you. You're like blown back because it is so loud. It's like, holy shit. It's like, because it's like dead silence, you talking, and then this massive roar coming towards you, and it all hits you, and you're like, fuck. It feels like all these people are going to come up on the stage and mob you or something. Like that was like the eye-opening moment for me. I was like, holy shit.
I'm worried about them not laughing when I pull a joke. That's it.
They'll be fine, mate. You'll crack them up. You'll be all right. They're there to be kind of, if it's TED, Oh no, this is the UI UX conference, yeah.
Oh, that cut out there. Hold up, let me just make a note. 21. Say it again, man.
Yeah, this was the UI UX conference, yeah, with 800 people.
Yeah, the ANZ conference. Yep.
Yeah, you just got to know that they sort you out as a crypto guy. They want to know about crypto, what's happening, how it's going to affect them. Tell them all your crazy fucking stories, mate. Like, crypto is wild. Like, every day is something different. Someone's doing some dumb shit, or something you don't expect happens, or suddenly you're rich for a day. Like, all this crazy stuff, like all these emotions, compared to like, banking or, the sectors that they're in, they're going to love it.
Mate, let's talk about how wild crypto really is, and sort of own your own keys, own your own wallet, all the shit that's happening with Celsius. I saw tweets about Blockfolio, like BlockFi. They were just rumors, but tweets about they're raising at like 80% discount or something on their latest valuation to get liquidity or something ridiculous. This is wild, man. This is mass liquidations from these institutions.
All right, so let's go through the bare bones basics about not your keys, not your coins. So if you've never set up a crypto wallet before, this is how it works. You download a piece of software, or you get a hardware wallet, which is like a little USB thing. And when you go to set it up, you get a 12 or 24 word phrase. These are just 24 words that you write down on a piece of paper and keep it very safe. And you'll either have a wallet within Chrome or on your phone, or you have a little device you plug in, and you can have a password over the top as well. And the reason you keep that 24 words safe, it's called your seed phrase, is that if something happens to your software or your physical hardware wallet, you can then go to any other wallet, type in that seed phrase and you can restore all of your funds. So it's super important to keep that safe. That is when you're doing a thing called self-custody. So you own that. If you send it to the wrong address, or you send like Bitcoin to an Ethereum address, that's gone. If you lose that piece of paper, that money is gone. There is no middleman whatsoever. The other extreme side is that you go to a company like, let's say, Coinbase, and you sign up with an email address. They hold your coins, they hold your seed phrase, they hold everything. They custody all of your assets, so they control them. So the whole thing here is if you don't have those keys, they are not your coins. You do not control those coins. Even though you think you can send them somewhere else, they can block you from sending them. They can pause it. They can lose the funds. So they're the two extremes of the spectrum. And Ben, maybe you can talk about how that fits in with Celsius and all these kind of things that we're seeing in the market, and Terra and the downstream effects.
Okay, so let's talk about Celsius. So Celsius is like your crypto bank. Well, that's what they marketed themselves as, a crypto bank. So you could give them your crypto and they would give you, I think they said 8% Berg, something like that, 8% yield, interest, basically. So it's like going to...
Think about this, right? A normal bank will give you like 0.1% interest. So if you've got crypto and it's doing nothing, it's just sitting there, you're thinking, mate, 8% is a good deal. They seem like 100%. A reputable company. I'll put my money in there.
100%. And they were a reputable company. Right, so but what they were doing is they're basically taking your crypto. So let's say Bergs deposits $10,000 into Celsius, and they're going to go, righto, Bergs, if you give us $10,000, we're going to give you 8% per year back. And what Celsius would do, they'd come to me because I want a loan. I'd be like, hey, Celsius, I want a $1,000 loan, $10,000 loan, and they're like, no worries, Ben, we'll give you a loan, but you've got to pay us 12% interest or whatever. And then the difference between the 12% interest that I pay and the 8% interest that they give to Bergs, they would take the cut at a very simple level. So they would take the margin. They take the fees, basically.
And this seems very reasonable. This is what a bank does. They take your money, they give you maybe 1%, and they'll lend it out to someone for a home loan at 3%. They 100%. Take the spread in between, and that's how they make their money. Seems very reasonable on the surface.
Definitely. What they were then doing from again... this is still rumors at this point because none of this is confirmed, but they were doing hypothecation, which is like what the banks do. So Bergs would deposit $10,000, and then what they would do is they'd basically go and loan out more money than they actually had in their reserves. So they would be using margin and they'd be loaning money themselves to loan out to others. So basically you're just stacking on risk at this point. And then what happens when the market turns to shit is that there's a run to the bank. Because I'm like, oh, well, Bergs is, he's like, hey, I want my money back. Celsius, give me my money back because I've got to like pay for some shit. And then they're going, okay, Ben, we need you to pay off the loan. And I'm going, well, I can't afford to pay off the loan because the market's turned to shit. So then they go, oh, fuck. Like, we don't have enough money to pay out the people that deposited money because they've got, they're trying to earn yield over here. They're giving out more money than they actually have. And it's basically just a domino effect. So what they've done is they've gone, no one can withdraw crypto from our platform for the foreseeable future with no end date.
Yep. And this is the thing. So they're not your keys, not your coins. They hold your crypto and you can't get it out. You're at the mercy of what they do. So are they going to wait it out? Are they going to be insolvent? You don't know what's going to happen, but your money is locked up and you are powerless in this situation.
Yep. And they've turned off all their social media. They're not doing live AMAs. They're just saying, we'll try and figure it out. But for now, you can't touch your money. So it's like let's say you put, $100,000 of your savings in CommBank and you go to CommBank and they say, oh, sorry, Ben, there's no withdrawals. What do you mean there's no withdrawals? No, we've got no money. Yep. Oh, well, when are you going to be ready? I don't know. We might not be. And also, you're the last one to be paid out if we all go under. Is the sort of ranking. Like, it is ridiculous.
This is crazy, and this happens in a lot of finance as well, and a lot of top people talk about this as well. And the two terms that I'll just define now are commingling and rehypothecation. So commingling is where they get everyone's funds and they stick it together. So let's say Ben puts in 50 grand and I put in 50 grand as well into an account. They'll chuck it all together. And all they need to do is have $50,000 there, not 100,000. So if someone comes along, looks and goes, is Ben's 50 grand in there? They'll look, 50 grand? Yeah, it's there. Is Bergs 50 grand in there? Yeah, it's there. But what happened to the other 50 grand, right? Like that's something that they don't have to prove with commingling in a lot of cases. Rehypothecation as well is, hypothecation is basically, I've got some money there. I'll basically write out a script or a note against it and say we're lending that money out, right? Which is fair enough to do. You're lending this money out, 100,000 here, 100,000 there, great. The problem is when you're accounting for that and when people do auditing, across, I think it was across finance in the States, the average is 3-point-something% loans on that underlying asset. So if you've got 100 grand in there, you're loaning out 300 and something thousand. If you want a good case, this is Dole Foods is one to look up, where they ended up lending out like 2 or 3 times the amount of stock they actually had. So when that gets called or there's an event, they'll go to all those funds and all that commingling and go, oh shit, we actually can't cover this. We're in the shit. And the way to get out of that is either people suffer that have put their money in, or they don't let you get your money out, or they're insolvent and they go bankrupt. So these are really, and especially in crypto, when you're flying that close to the sun, and again, with these things, like the extreme of having you're custodying your own assets and owning your keys, you're responsible for that. On the other side, someone else custodies it. So it might even be insured funds with some of them, those kind of things. But again, behind the curtain, you really don't know what's going on. Like you don't have any access to see how extreme the things are that they're doing, what they've got it in, or if one event fails, the margin calls, the cascading fails that will eventually come down to that service that you are in. And it's very challenging to understand, but just know that the risk that you're taking along that spectrum.
Yeah, definitely. And we're seeing mass liquidations across the board. VC funds, lending protocols, they all seem to be so levered up that when the market turns south, which no one predicted apparently, is really bad because they're mass selling crypto to try and get cash to pay their liquidation, debt.
It's wild when the big boys are getting hit. And if you think about it, if you're flying close to the sun and you've got $1 million, all of a sudden that $1 million is 200,000, and you've got loans outstanding, you've got to pay your staff, whatever else you have to do. A lot of people are in trouble. Like they haven't managed their risk. And to be honest, all of this that's happening now in the crypto markets was completely predictable from all the other 4-year cycles that we've had.
100%.
Like we're expecting this to happen, right? Like, yeah, there's really no surprise. We know this, and everyone's like, oh, this is a black swan event. That's bullshit. This is a white swan event. We know it's going to happen. We know how to prepare for it. We just don't know when it is going to happen.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to talk about, Bergs, was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 2017, I went to EdCon, the Ethereum conference in Sydney, and met Vitalik, and he was talking there, and there was no one there. And Ethereum was $80 Australian.
Oof.
So $60 US.
Oh.
It is currently $1,100 4 years later.
Yeah.
And people are fucking throwing the towel in. It's all over. It's going to zero. The front of the newspaper, crypto party finally over. Everyone's shitting on crypto. And it's like, okay, great. If you look at the last 12 months, yeah, we're down 70%, which, by the way, has happened more than 5 times in the last 12 years. And if you look at a 2-year time horizon, Bitcoin's up 200%. Bitcoin was at $3,500 2 years ago. It's at $20,000 now. Ethereum was $80 4 years ago. It's at $1,000 now. Like, it is still the best performing asset class on the planet over a 4 or 5 year time horizon. 10-year time horizon.
Exactly. And people lose their minds, and it's hard because, and if you think back 3 months ago when everyone was like mad into crypto, I'm like, I'm leaving my fucking job and going to crypto. To be fair, I've been wanting to do that for like a year and a half.
And you did.
just timing. And if you think about all the people that are in here now, all the stuff that's being built, and nothing has changed. If the price was $4,000 today, would your mindset change? Probably. But nothing has changed apart from price. Like people have been liquidated. They were flying too close to the sun. The big boys have, there's cascading kind of things. People that have just bought in have been shaken out because if you buy in, it's your first time. You're like, okay, I don't really understand crypto. I'm going to get in. I bought it 4,000. Now it's 1,000. My missus is pissed off. How am I going to make rent? Whatever the case may be. These people are getting shaken out. and they're selling. And then people are also hunting for liquidity because they need to get out of their positions and they're going to have to sell. So, there's downward pressure on price. And like we've seen time and time again, it's more like a U-shaped recovery where it goes down, it plateaus for a while, and then something kicks it off again. For the recent cycle, it was NFTs. So we just need to keep that in mind where for you, if your thesis is the same and nothing has changed apart from price, just keep going.
So I think it's important, it's a great point, Bergs, to differentiate value and price. They're two different things. So for me, the value of Bitcoin has not changed. It is always very bullish in my opinion. But price is a thing that, is just traded day to day by millions of people that agree on the price that they think is fair value. And comes a point in time every few years in crypto that where you get this price that is undervalued, in my opinion. And I think we're in that territory now where Bitcoin's at $20,000 and I think we are undervalued compared to the actual value that's producing. Whether you're looking at hash rate, you're looking at the number of users in Bitcoin, you're looking at the supply and demand metrics, you're looking at other markets. Man, Snapchat is down 80%, Airbnb's down 50%, Meta's down 60%, Shopify's down. Everything is
Amazon,
down.
Coinbase, they're all getting hammered.
Everyone's getting fucked, but yet the front page of the Herald Sun or whatever the hell it is, AFR, is that the crypto party's over. Yeah. Guess what? Everyone's party's over. There is no cool parties right now,
Yeah, that's it. And even when you're talking about Bitcoin, the value proposition for Bitcoin is the most intolerant thing on the planet. It sacrifices nothing. It's just I want to be the most decentralized. I want to be the most secure. I want to be the slowest to innovate because I am the... It's a feature. It's not a bug for Bitcoin. Correct. And even now with the inflation metrics that have come out, everything, the amount of money that's being printed, the value proposition for Bitcoin is just getting higher and higher, in my opinion. It is getting stronger and stronger. And when you see that price go down, I try not to tie, you see it go down, you're I want to buy the absolute bottom, and we know time and time again, the bottom happens for 1 second of one day, you will never pick it. Just to manage my psychology to be yeah, this thing is getting stronger, it's getting better. And there is a lot of innovation actually happening on Bitcoin, especially with Lightning and Layer 2. Even with ETH, with the merge that's happening, to the point where I just need to start, and it's hard because prices are going up, interest rates are going up, all these kind of things, to then take some of your money and then put it into this asset class that could go down further. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to do that, but nothing has fundamentally changed for me.
100%. And I think that's why not trying to pick bottoms and dollar cost averaging out, as boring as that sounds, is the best way to do it, because you're not going to find the bottom. And usually the bottom, we've been speaking about this for a long time, is that it's a U-shaped recovery on a bear market. It's not V-shaped. It's not going to hit a certain price and then just bounce off it and that'd be the end of it. You're going to get this
down, Ben's cut out.
Oh,
you're still there? All right, keep going, mate.
You're going to get this drawn out period of time where crypto finds the bottom and its accumulation phase. That's what happened back in 2018. If you look at the chart, Bitcoin went sideways for half of 2018, capitulated, went from 9,000 to 3,500, sat at the bottom for basically the rest of 2018, and in 2019 we had that pump. And I think that's what's going to happen here as well. I think we're going to be just sort of sitting around this $20,000 mark for a little while. Might have a capitulation event soon. Maybe it's already done. Who knows? But I still think that this is a great time. If you have $10,000 you want to invest over the next 12 months, it's a great time to start setting up those automatic buys and just forgetting about it.
Absolutely. And you'll look back on these times as hell yeah, I made the right move. And even with investing, there's no perfect time to get it. There is no perfect investment, man. This is the thing I've discovered over time, where think about your best investment you've ever made, the thing that made you the most money. Even that will never go perfectly. You would be I should have got in earlier. I should have put in more. Or your worst investments, I should have got out earlier. There's no such thing. And I think there's a dude, I forget his name, I'll look it up and put it in the show notes. And his catchphrase is always be buying. Just over time, just keep it simple. Just keep going. Have your, 10% of your income or whatever you allocate to buying investments, whatever those investments may be, and just keep going over time. Yeah. And it just manages your psychology so well. You automate it. You don't spend a lot of time looking at the charts and go, oh, my heart. When ETH has dropped 50% in a week, you're oh oh my God. And you're typing into your little spreadsheet, looking at your net worth. All that goes away and it's all automated and you just keep continuing on.
Yeah, I'm happy or what are we, 5 or 6 years in now. I get to a point where I haven't looked at my portfolio in 6 months. I think I said that last week, 7 or 8 months now. You look at when it's bullish and great, but I just completely avoid it when it's bearish because what's it going to do? It's going to make you panic. It's going to make you worried. It's going to make you feel all these sort of emotions. And unless you really need the money, then it's something that you look to avoid because it just puts you in this emotional state. You're not making clear decisions. Yeah,
and even Sean from Mice First Million just classified this whole thing so well. Where he's like, "Oh, it's just a new season." Where it's like, it was a good season. It was the everything bubble. Everything was going up. Everyone was making money no matter where they were. Everyone's getting fat. Everyone's getting happy. You're going to restaurants. It's like, new season on now. Okay, great. This just dropped. It's a different phase. Okay, might have to tighten up a little bit. All my theses are still the same. Might drop a little bit of weight. Can't eat as many fat steaks or whatever it may be. But it's just a new season for a little time. It's not forever. It's just for now. And these kind of times where you really build that kind of mental fitness and it really makes you appreciate the good times that you just had and the good times that are coming.
100%. Totally agree. Bergs, that's
mate, should we wrap there?
Well, we wrapping any other final words? I think we ticked off everything.
No, mate. I've got physio after this, mate. My back's playing up. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be tip-top, mate.
Awesome, mate. I want to smash some sleep pills and hit the hay, I think.
Mate, get amongst it. Have some sweet dreams. Fly in the clouds with Bitcoin.
Mate, huge week. There's going to be a good episode next week. We've got Ape Fest this week, Bored Ape Your Club's event. We've got Moonbirds, the David Blaine private magic show, 100 people. Unbelievable. Just
a casual David Blaine, mate. Why not?
It's going to be sick. Got so many events. Going to a costume thingo tomorrow night. NFT dress up thing.
Mate, what's your costume going to be?
Do you have one yet? Yeah, so you got to dress up as an NFT. So I'm going to go get my... I'm going to get...
Do a drop bear. Just dress as a giant bogan. A ciggy, wife beater.
Aussie flag or something like on my chest.
Oh, yeah. Southern Cross tattoo, mate. Get amongst it.
Just walk around with a barbecue, like a sausage on the barbecue.
Yeah. Or get a polo dress like an Eshe. So good.
A soccer ball.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go as my wizard Moonbirds NFT. When you go find a witch's hat of some description.
Mate, you got to get a photo for that and you got to show me. We'll put it in next week's show. That sounds awesome.
Awesome, man. Great. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll be back. So we're doing these episodes every week. Ben Bergs show you can find on YouTube, podcasts, everywhere, I think. And I forgot to mention last week, we are partnered by Collective Shift, the company that Bergs and I both are working on, which is helping people make better investment decisions in crypto, helping people figure out this wild west and trying to help you make money. So head over to Collective Shift if you want some. We got heaps of free stuff now, Bergs, don't we? Heaps of free content.
Oh, we've got tons. Like, I'm having a lot. Like, our team is so epic. I just love them, man. Like, the amount of information they put out, the way they do it, it's no nonsense, no bullshit. They spend all their time in Discords, news sites, all this kind of stuff. Apply their analysis, package it nicely, give it to you. Yeah, head over to the website, collectiveshift.io. Jump in the top 10 tutorials. Look at all the free resources we've got. Like, our mission is to get people into crypto, right? Get amongst it, set up your wallet, do all the free stuff. And then if you want to bump up and learn some more, join us. Get amongst it, have a good time. We're a bunch of no nonsense, no bullshit people. Just like the stuff you hear on this pod. It's all real. Loving building the company and building the product. And people that are already customers, give us a shout out in the Discord about the product. Let's make it better. Let's build it together. We've got some channels set up. We've got people helping us out. It's just great. I love building in this phase where price goes out the window, concentrate on the product, build out something awesome, and just be ready for the next wave.
100%, man. 100% myself. Right, we're right there. Thanks, Berg. See you next week.
Catch you, mate. Have a good one.